Good morning, guys. It's Jen here from Australia's Capture Paranormal and Capture the Magic. Last night we were supposed to do our live tutorial on pendulum work, but unfortunately due to the heat I ended up with migraines, so we had to postpone it. I've had some really beautiful messages from some of our followers just wishing me a speedy recovery. It was just a migraine. I shouldn't say just a migraine. It wipes you out. If anyone has them, they know exactly what I mean. But thank you for your beautiful messages. I'm always disappointed when I have to cancel or postpone something. So I just thought that I would do this video and post it up so that you can still have a look at the tutorial. And if there's any questions, that you can post them down the bottom and I will get to them over the next couple of days. So pendulum work. Okay, so what is it? Today we're going to be talking about the pendulum and how it's used in a spiritual sense, more so than the Newton's first law of motion with mechanics and clocks and things like that. It's a tool for divination, and the pendulum is believed to serve as a conduit between the physical and the spiritual realm. Now, there's a lot of controversy about using the pendulum and whether it actually works or whether we manipulate it. So we're going to go through some of that now. Now, I do have some notes on my computer, so you might see me looking at my computer because I'm not great with dates and names. And that's just to make sure that I'm giving you the right information. Okay, so like I said, it's simply a tool that we can use to communicate with either our guides, our higher self, spirits that have passed, or just to have connection with universe as well. So many people use it for different things. I personally use it to connect with higher self, to connect with spirit guides, and I use it for love, speaking with loved ones or getting guidance from loved ones, as well as we do use it in investigations to be able to try and give the spirits that we're there visiting another tool that they may like to use. Now, we did get asked during the week about different tools. I think it was about when we were talking about table tipping. And the reason why we have so many different tools as paranormal investigators and as spiritual workers. So the reason that we go armed with a lot of different pieces of equipment or tools or different methods in an investigation is that some spirits find it easier to work with certain pieces of material. For example, some might find it easy to tip the table and communicate through that way. Whether it be on an energetic level or whether it just be their preferred way. Others might find that the table tipping's too hard. It needs a lot of energy to actually tip that table. So pendulum work could be an alternative to that, where it's a little bit easier to use. Okay, so it's a tool that we can use for guidance, helping to access our intuition, our higher self, communicating with spirit guides, communicating with loved ones or people that have passed on. Now, the different terms that you may hear when people talk about pendulum work is divination, scrying, dowsing, pendulum swing work. There's all sorts of people have over the centuries and decades and everything have used different names for it. So they're sort of one and the same. Scrying's a little bit different because scrying is an umbrella that pendulum sits underneath. But yes, so all right, now the history of it. I am going to read this just so I get it right. So it was widely recognised for its scientific and timekeeping applications when we're talking about pendulum. The pendulum also holds a rich history within the realm of the spiritual practices, particularly in ancient times. So spiritual pendulum work historically has been used by various cultures, including ancient Greeks, Romans, Egyptians, and the Chinese, and it dates back to 400 BCE. Which is incredible to think about that what I'm doing now has been done forever. It's believed that the pendulum motion can reveal divine messages or help to communicate with spirit. So some ancient traditions use the pendulum to enter into meditative states, believing that its motion could hypnotize the mind and allow for our subconscious and allow for us to be in a hypnotic state so that spirit could communicate through. It was also in ancient times used to communicate with the gods. Some ancient traditions use the pendulum to, I've already seen. Now this is what happens when I read stuff, because then I go and read the same crap again. So in the 1300s, those using pendulums for divination began being prosecuted for witchcraft. The church saw the pendulum as a form of devil worship, and that led them into forbidding it until the 1700s. Pendulum work has had its critics all through history, including in modern day, but thankfully it's widely accepted, more widely accepted now, and a lot more people are doing. But are they doing it correctly? So everyone has their processes, and I don't know what that is on my, I've got something stuck on my head. It's been a rough morning. All right, so the equipment that we can use. So traditionally a pendulum can be anything. It can be, I mean, I use a crystal, and I'll show you that in a minute. It's just come off its chain. So this is my personal one. Okay, now I have different ones that I use, but this is the one that I feel more comfortable with using, and I've had some really good results with it. So you need the actual pendulum itself. Now that can be anything. So I was having a conversation and reading some information during the week, and some people said that they use different types of pendulums depending on the work that they want to do, which I thought was really interesting, because I've never considered that pendulum made out of different objects could have a different energy and give different results. So that's something, and thank you to the person that brought that to my attention, and we chatted about that, because that's something I'm going to personally experiment with myself. So they were saying that they use crystal, they also use wood, and it gives two very different vibes, and when you think about it, it would. So yeah, that's something I'm really intrigued about. So you can basically use anything, as long as it's weighted. Something at the bottom is weighted. Like I've got, I can't pull it down now, but you'll see behind me I've got some different necklaces and hanging crystals and stuff. So any of that can be used. You could use anything, you pull it off. Now, old wives' tale used to be, and you've probably heard this one, is that you could put a wedding ring, even just on a piece of thread or cord, and hang it above the belly of a woman that is pregnant, and depending on which way it swings would indicate the sex of the baby. Now that's been used for forever, and people swear by it. Some people obviously think that it's hocus pocus and baloney, but I've never tried that, but I do believe that that is very possible. So let me know in the comments if you have tried that and what your results are. So anything can be a pendulum. I choose, like I said, to use this one. So that is the most important thing, obviously, that you would need to do any pendulum work. Now the idea of the pendulum is to hold it, ask questions, and watch how it swings. Now as you can see, I've just picked it up and moved it, so it is swinging, but that doesn't mean it's connecting through with spirit. That just means that it's my body that is moving it. Okay. Now a couple of other different tools that you can use, you don't have to use, is first up is mats or boards. Okay, so this one here is my personal one. It's a mat. Okay, it can travel anywhere. So you'll see that it's got no opposite each other, yes, maybe, and rephrase. So the idea of that is to hold your pendulum, centering it in the middle, like this. A bit hard to do it like that. Centering it in the middle. Wait till it stops moving on its own. I'm resting it just on my chest, but if it's on the table, you would rest it on the table just to make sure that it has stopped moving. Then lift it up very gently. Okay, now it'll be hard here because of the way I'm holding it with my elbow, and I'll explain that in a minute. Now, when you're asking your questions, and we'll talk about what sort of questions shortly, but when you're asking your questions, you'll get different sorts of movement. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the whole idea is you will get a swing. Now I'm obviously moving it. And it can, you know, doing this way would be a yes. Okay. Backwards and forwards. A bit hard when I've got it sitting up like that. Backwards and forwards would be a no. So this mat, it doesn't have to be used. You could just simply write pieces of paper, put it down, or you don't need to use a mat. But what you do, the mats are good for being able to see the movement more clearly and see when it changes direction, and to get clearer answers. Now, with a mat, you've got your clear answers, okay? This is a very simple one. It's pretty, it's velvet, it's purple, I love it. But then you can go to boards. Now, there's all sorts of different boards that you can use. This one here is one that I use occasionally. I don't use it all the time. Now, as you can see, hang on, let me put this one down. As you can see, it still has the yes, the no, the rephrase, the maybe. Okay, but it also has the outer. So when you're asking spirit, you know, it has to be a yes or a no answer for these boards, okay, or these mats. You can't ask any more information other than what's on here for answers. But on this one, it allows you to then maybe spread that communication and push it a little bit further. So you've got the days of the week here. So it might be, you know, what day did such and such happen, and see where the swing is. Now, obviously, if it's swinging this way, you're asking what day of the week, and it's swinging this way, it could be Thursday or it could be Monday. So then you can say, can you please clarify, is it Thursday? And then see whether we get a yes or we get a no. If we get a no, then we say, can we please clarify it's Monday? And then hopefully you'll get your yes. Okay. Similarly, you can use the, just like a Ouija board, you can use the letters around here, or you've got the months. Okay, so that's a really good tool. I use that occasionally when I want to be more specific or get more information. It's just a little thin board. Okay, I have plans to put something else on the back of that. But yeah, so that is a good board to use, or the mat. Okay, now in saying that, you don't have to use either of those. You can just simply sit at a table and use the table, but you need to be very specific with spirit and universe, or whoever you're communicating with, which way the yes swing is and which way the no swing is. Okay. All right, so that's the equipment that we can use. Now, when you're using, obviously the pendulum, mine is on a pendulum chain. This one, if I'm using this is just on leather. You can use cotton, wool, any sort of string. It doesn't really matter. As long as the bottom of it is weighted, you can use anything. So you could use, if you've got a coin that, you know, has got a hole pierced in it, you can use that. You can use a necklace, you can use a crystal, you can use a piece of wood, as long as it can be attached to a string or a cord. Look, there's multiple things that you could use. So, but what I will be experimenting with over this year will be doing sessions with different equipment and seeing what the difference is. Excuse me, with the what sort of response that I get from those. Okay, now, so we talked about the old wives' tale of holding it across the belly, and I would like to hear from anyone that has done that and had results from it. All right, so what gives the best results? The best results I've found is, that's why I tend to work with this one better. I don't wear this. I don't use it for anything else other than pendulum work. So it sits with my pendulum board. So I've basically given this particular crystal a job, and it knows what its job is, and it is dedicated just to doing that. That's my belief, is that by dedicating it to that specific job, it knows what to do, and it's connected to my board, and it's connected to myself. But you don't have to. You can change it up. You can try different things, whatever feels best for you. I always find too that I don't go into a pendulum session until I've centered myself a little bit. So that can be just sitting with your equipment, hands on your equipment, hands on, I can just sit there sometimes holding the hand on the board, holding that, close my eyes, take some nice deep breaths in, do a small meditation. I do ask my guides to come in and help. I ask universe to come in and help, to both protect me and to help me communicate. We'll talk about protection in a minute. And just setting the space, okay, that helps me get really good results. And also, don't do it when you have only a small time limit. I find that if I try and rush it, or I think, oh, I've got 10 minutes, I'll just quickly see if I can get some answers. You want to be relaxed, and you want to be patient, and allow it to have the time that it needs to work. So I always find that is a great way to approach doing the board. Now, what movements can it make? Right, so you need to give direction. If you're not using a board, even if you do, sometimes I'll say, Spirit, I want to, I would like to try and communicate through you or with you. I need help. I ask that you answer, swinging this way for yes, and I will point it out. It's like having a conversation with you and I, that I'm explaining to you what I will be doing. It's like I'm explaining to them the help that I need. Or, I need, this is a no swing, this is a yes swing. Specifically, if you're not using a board and you're just doing it over the top of a table, it's very important that you make that clear that you would like the no swing this way and the yes swing whatever way. Now, the way a lot of people do it, but you can do it anyway. So you might choose to do a yes, no this way, a yes this way, or you might choose to do a no swing that way. The way I do it is, especially when I'm not using a board, is that I will ask Spirit to give me side to side no. So the way I remember that is side to side is a no. Okay, up and down, or front and back, forward and backwards is a yes. Okay, so that's a little trick that you can use to remember that. So no is a no. Yes. Okay. Now, it can it can go front ways, it can go sideways, it can go any way. That's why the boards are really good, because if you're not getting a direct yes or no, then you want to know what the answer is. So for these ones here, it might be a rephrase, it might be a maybe. So it is good to use those, especially if you're just beginning. Okay. Now, a circular, you'll get a lot of circular movement like this, or oval movement, or it's not really clear that it's a direct yes or a direct no. That there can be a number of things, and it takes time to be able to learn how to read that. So for me, and the way that I practice, any circular movement, whether it be small or it be large, to me is Spirit generating energy, collecting energy to be able to answer. It can also mean that maybe my question wasn't clear. especially when you're using this board. Okay. And I let it swing for a little while. You know, I'll let it do its movement for a little while. But if it just keeps swinging and, you know, I've asked the question a second time and it just keeps swinging, wow, then I will stop the session. Just stop it, let it have a rest, put it on the table or hold it in my hand, just stop the movement. Do another quick, close the eyes, couple of breaths, and then start again and ask the same question again. All right, so it can go, now this is going to be reversed for you guys. So I think I'll do it my way, otherwise I'll confuse everyone. So it can go clockwise or it can go anti-clockwise. And anti-clockwise is meant to be an answer of no. Clockwise is meant to be an answer of yes. So they're things to keep in mind. I didn't really understand that years back when I first started working with Pendulum, and it's not something that I really took notice of, but it is worth taking notice of, because if it's doing that swinging and it's just getting energy, take note of whether it's clockwise or it's anti-clockwise, because that will also give you a yes or no answer. Now it can also, besides just swinging, it can also jump. Now this sounds bizarre, I know. And I don't know how many other people have experienced it, and it doesn't happen all the time, but over the course of, I've probably been using Pendulum for maybe 20 years. Yeah, maybe 20 years. Time goes fast when you get old. In a number of communications, and it's mainly been with family members and particular family members, while it's spinning, it can do this funny little jump. I call it a jump. It's more, well, it is a jump, I guess, but it feels like you don't always see it, but you can feel it. It feels like the pendulum is just doing a little, that's a bit extreme. It's like a little tug. And that's usually happening when I can personally feel the energy around me ramping up. And it usually happens when spirit that I'm speaking with gets excited or is really trying to emphasize the message, like a very strong no or a very strong yes. So that has happened a number of times. It doesn't happen all the time. It's pretty cool when it does happen. So just be aware of that. Like it's not too subtle. Like you really know it's a good little jump and a little tug. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, how do you actually do it? Actually, we might talk about the dangers of it first, because a lot of people have asked me over the last few months, is it dangerous? I've never, in my experience, had any issues or anything dangerous coming through, but you are working with spirit, you are working with spirit realm, and despite people that claim that they know everything, they don't, we don't, nobody does, nobody is a professional, no one is at the top of the leaderboard in spiritual communication, because we just really don't know everything that we need to know. And but in my experience, I have never had any issues with anything negative or bad coming through. In saying that, it's quite possibly because, one, I protect myself, and two, I go in and do it very respectfully. And anytime you work with spirit, or with the spirit realm or energies, then that's what you need to do. So protecting yourself, like every time that we do a live or we do one of these tutorial videos and we talk about whether it's table tipping, pendulum, paranormal investigating, you need to protect yourself, okay? And that can be, I'm not going to go right into the protection, but that can be either, a mantra that you do. It might be a little meditation. It might be something that you wear, but you need to protect yourself. So as long as you protect yourself and you go in with the right attitude, you go in respectfully, I really don't see how this could be dangerous. Now, talking about the board and the fact that it is like a Ouija board, that scares people as well. It is just a piece of wood, okay, with a design on the front. There is nothing magical or scary or demonic about this piece of wood. Like every other piece of material, even the Ouija boards, they are just material. It's about what we're invoking, what we're asking to come through. It's about our attitude and our intention. It's about protecting ourselves. It's about knowing that what we are asking Spirit to do, we can handle. Okay, so there is nothing demonic about owning one of these, using one of these, nothing. Okay, again, it's all about your intention. Okay, now a lot of people say, well, I don't have a lot of experience in it. I don't want to try because I'm scared of it. Also, that's fine. It's also about your comfort level. If it's something that you would like to try, find someone that is already doing it or has tried it and watch them do it. And then maybe jump in on one of their sessions and get them to show you how it's done so that you feel more comfortable. Okay, it's like everything, the first time you do something, whether it be in the spiritual realm, whether it be at work, whether it be in your family, it's going to be scary because you don't know how to do it. You don't know what to expect. Okay, the best thing is ask for help, ask for guidance from someone that is doing it, someone that has done it, and take on board how they do it and what they're teaching you. But over time, throughout your own practice, you will find the ways that are best for you. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about how to actually do a pendulum session and how to hold it. Okay, because there is a lot of controversy about, how we hold it, and is it us manipulating it? Is it our subconscious and all that sort of thing? Now, just before I do that, I will show you another piece of equipment. Now, this is something that I have only just started using. It is an item that some beautiful friends of mine in the paranormal field, Hectic Paranormal, particularly Kate, had come up with. Now, I'm sure she has seen it somewhere else. Maybe she hasn't, but I have heard other people using it. But she recently put up on their socials, and go and check them out, Hectic Paranormal. They are down in Victoria, and it's Gem and Kate and Vic. She put it up on her Facebook page, and I was like, what a great idea. So I said to her, I'm going to do that. I'm going to copy it. And that's what we've done. So I will show you this. This is the pendulum jar. Now we tend to name a lot of our equipment just because it makes us connect with it, and it's personal and it's fun. This one is my Hectic Hag, because that's what Kate calls herself, is Hectic Hag. So this is my Hectic Hag. Kate, if you're watching this, thank you. And we do have to catch up. So what this is simply a jar. Okay. It's actually a Posada jar that I've used and cleaned out. It has the pendulum, okay, attached to the jar, just a hole. I mean, you can make it really fancy. I had it all blinged up with lights and shit like that. But the lights didn't stick and they didn't work, and they were, because of the reflection on the glass, it was a little bit harder to see the actual pendulum working. So I originally put the lights on it so that when we're sitting in the dark in investigation and using it, that the pendulum would be lit up. But like all experiments, that one wasn't so great. We found that the lights that were surrounding the jar, because you can't put it inside the jar because then you're going to interfere with your swing motion. So we had it wrapped around and glued onto the outside. But the reflection from all the different lights at the different angles made it look like, when you were getting a slight movement in the pendulum, made it really hard to see. So now at the bottom, that was fun trying to get that in. We just put a piece of paper with the no, no, yes, yes. Okay, so just like the boards. And on the bottom, we've just stuck some felt. Okay, just because sometimes in investigations we're in historic locations and they have, you know, beautiful antique tables, and we don't want to scratch anything if we put it on there. So I just put a bit of felt there. Also, the felt was designed if there was any, if I'm sitting at a table doing a session and another investigator's walking around, that it might take out some of the impact of them walking on the floor. So yeah, all you do, pop him in, tie him up, and you sit him on the table. Now, obviously, you have to wait until the swing stops. But see there, we're getting a yes swing. Now, that is not a spiritual message. That is just the fact that I have moved it. I don't know if you can see. I'll just try and shade my computer. Okay, so you've got to remember I'm holding this too. So my body movement, even from talking, even if I sit really, really still, it can make tiniest bit of movement. But as you can see, it does change direction, and it can change direction quite quickly. It was going yes, yes, and now it's ran in circles. So it's all about practice. Practice, practice, practice. Okay, so holding the pendulum. All right, best thing to do is, whether it be a chain like this, you can hold it, oh, more thumbs today, you can hold it just simply over one finger, or like this. With these ones, they have the little bauble on the top. I just simply hold it so the bauble is, sorry, my nails aren't real great today. So the ball is just holding like that, okay? Now, table, put your elbow on it. So you're resting your elbow, okay? That will help stop some of the movement. It'll also relax your shoulder a little bit, because if you're holding something up like this, I can tell you, for any amount of time, young or old, your shoulder will start to ache, and then you'll make little movements to adjust because your shoulder or your neck is sore, and that's where you'll get your contamination in here. Okay, so table, I'll pretend I'm on a table so I can hold it up here. You've got your board. Actually, we'll use this one. Okay, we use this one. So table, elbow on the table, and I always start it off by just resting it, okay? And then lifting up. Now, this is not going to work in the respect of any spiritual communication or guidance, simply because I haven't done my process, and because there is going to be movement from my arm, okay, because I'm holding both arms up in the air. So just rest it in the center, okay, and then lift it up. Now, you'll see the movement there, and the movement is going to be a lot more than what you would normally get, because I am holding my arms up in the air. But you can see it starting to move, and then just give it a little bit of time. Now, see how the swing's getting bigger? I'll just stop talking for a couple of seconds. Now, see how it's getting more violent? I shouldn't say violent. It makes it sound bad. But it's getting more, you can see it's getting more energy. Okay, and my shoulder is sore. A lot easier to do it on the table. Now, best to sit up close against the table instead of sitting too far away and then trying to hold your arm like that. Sit nice and close to the table so your elbow is just resting near you. So you've got no pressure on your shoulder. And all you're doing is, there's the table, all you're doing is hanging your crystal like that. Relax your wrist, okay? And you hold on the pendulum, okay? So nice and relaxed, okay? If at any time that you are unsure of the answer that you're getting, stop. Give yourself a couple of minutes. do a bit of a shake, and then start again and ask the question again. Okay. Now, it also helps to pre-write the questions. It's a little bit hard to do that if you're taking this to an investigation and you're not really sure of who might be there or what you're going to get. But whenever I use it for to communicate with higher self, universe, or get some guidance, I will always pre-write my questions. So remember, they need to be yes or no's, so they can be answered yes or no. And you can then broaden it from them. So am I going in the right direction spiritually? No. Okay. You can't say, well, where should I be going? It's not going to be able to answer you. You then broaden your look on it and say, should I be working with tarot? Yes. Okay, great. You've got your answer. All right. So start with your yes or no's, and then you can build on that. Okay. It takes time, but it's a great idea to write the questions down. Also too, if you're communicating with a loved one or trying to communicate with a loved one and you want specific answers to different things, then it's always great to write it down, because I can tell you the minute that your loved one comes in, and a lot of the times you will not just see it or feel it through here, you'll feel it emotionally, you'll feel it behind you. It can get very emotional, and then your brain just goes into this mushy thing, and it's like, oh shit, what do I ask now? What can I ask now? I've seen it so many times where people will say, you know, where did you leave the such and such, or who's got the watch? You know, they can't answer that. So make it very clear what you want to ask. You can always build on it, but it's a backup plan for you. All right. Now, what else did I want to go through? Who can come through? So anybody can come through, and that again is why we do a protection. So you can ask for anyone to come through. It doesn't necessarily mean that if you ask for grandma, that grandma will come through. It might be Uncle Ed, or it could be the lady down the street that comes through. Always ask for who you would like to communicate with, but be open-minded, respectful, and accepting of whoever comes through, because they are giving you their energy to communicate. And it might just be that you might not understand it at the time, but it might end up being their communication with them, or something that they are able to guide you with, that is more important than actually speaking to grandma. You know, spirit and universe work in mysterious ways, and they give us what we need when we need it. So anyone can come through, meaning any known person to us or any unknown person to us. You can ask for your spirit guides. I call them my team. Or you can connect with your higher self for guidance, okay? You can ask for a loved one to come through, or someone that's attached to a place. So if you're in a location that you're investigating, and you can ask, is there anyone here that can come through and communicate with us? You're getting a yes, great. Are you male? Yes or no. Are you female? Yes or no. It's also good to ask the same question in a different way, as long as they can still answer yes or no. But for example, the male or female, just to be able to clarify the answer. So, are you male? Yes. Great. Don't just stop there. Also ask them, are you female? Now, if you get a yes, it's like, maybe the first answer was not correct. Okay. Or maybe I have two people. All right. So play around with it and verify your answers by asking the same question in different ways. Okay. Let me see, what else have I written up? Okay, who should not try to communicate doing pendulum work? Now, this is the same for most, my answer to this is the same for most things. And it is the same for what we talked about in the tipping table tutorial, and it'll probably be the same for all the other things like the tarots and everything else that we're going to be doing. Never ask to communicate with anything that is demonic. That's just stupidity. A lot of, Hollywood has tainted our minds and our perception of working with spirit, that it's all demonic, and that if you get on a Ouija board or you do pendulum or you do table tipping, you're going to get a demon through. No, they do that to sell movies, okay, because it's got the creepy factor. In saying that, it can happen, and that's why we protect ourselves. That's why we go into this with the right intention. That is why we don't go and ask for anything demonic. If you want to do that, then please press the stop button, stop watching this now, and please unlike our page, because we are not interested in being attached, involved, or helping anybody learn how to do anything if you're doing it the wrong way. That seems really harsh and I may lose some viewers, but you know what? That's my ethics. We do not work with demonics. We do not ask for demonics. So if you're that person that is interested in doing that, please unlike our page right now. Okay. For those of you that haven't unliked our page, thank you very much. So don't ask for demonics. Don't ask to communicate with a spirit of anyone that you have known in their life that was destructive or evil or crazed. Again, depending on your belief, and my belief is that when we go over to the other side, when we pass, that we leave a lot of our physical behind. But if someone is crazed of mind, some of that can be a physical thing, but some of it can be an emotional or mental thing. And the soul, I believe, and others, each to their own, but I believe can take the emotional and mental stuff with them sometimes, or parts of it. So it is my process, and I would suggest to you that you do not, if you've got someone in your family that was really evil, and I'm talking not just nasty. I mean, we can all be nasty, we can all be shitty sometimes. I'm talking about really horrible, horrible people, like the Malats of the world, don't try and communicate with them. And again, I said this in table tipping, I personally do not, and I would suggest that you don't, is try and communicate with any native Indigenous people, so Aboriginal, Islanders, Native Americans, only because I don't do it because I am unsure on whether that is respectful for their culture or not. So unless you are of that culture and you know that it is respectful, then I would stay clear of it. If they come through, that's fine, because they've chosen to come through, but please don't go seeking. Okay, so where can you do it? You can do it anywhere, but again, with the table tipping, please consider the environment that you're in, because that environment will have its own energy. And for example, if you're doing this in an asylum or a jail, you might not get that peaceful grandmotherly energy through. It might be a little bit tougher, and so just be aware of the environment that you are in, and again, never do this on, well, I never do it on any sort of cultural sacred ground or anything like that, just out of respect. So who shouldn't do it? Anyone with mental health, okay, and that is just our stock standard answer for any work with spirit. Anyone that's suffering mental health issues or is feeling unstable, whether they are like that all the time or whether you're going through a period of unrest, like stress, depression, that sort of thing. It takes, work with spirit can take a lot of energy from you. So I don't suggest to do any work with spirit if you are not 100% clear-minded. Anyone affected by drugs or alcohol, again, that's just crazy. And anyone that hasn't done a protection. So please make sure you protect yourself. And some of the things that we do, obviously Ouija board, table tipping, I wouldn't suggest for children. With pendulum work, if you have a child that has a mature outlook and understands, then I can't see any harm in it. Now, when I say child, I'm not talking like a 5-year-old, but I'm talking, you know, from around the 12-ish mark. If they would like to try and communicate, I would only let them communicate with maybe a loved one, or maybe some little guidance about, you know, whatever's happening in their life, but I wouldn't let them do it alone. I would always sit with them and make sure they're not being silly with it. But that's up to parents' discretion. Looking at my children, there's one that at that age I would have let do it under supervision, another one that I wouldn't have let do it. So it depends on the child, depends on the parents. Okay, maintenance and storage. Okay, so to start, I mean, this one's felt, so, and it's always kept in a little, like in the cupboard, and it doesn't get dusty, but, you know, just give it a clean over, a wipe over a dust. You can smudge, a little bit of smudging, but you don't need to get the full, smudge stick out. This is one I made earlier. Yeah, smelling great. We actually are selling these. But yeah, you don't need to get the full smudge stick out. You can just get, let me just just get a little bit of incense, and you can smudge yourself and the area while you're taking in your nice deep breaths and everything. You can bless it if that's your thing, and do your work. And then when you finish, do the same thing in reverse. Basically, you can smudge again and clear the space and do a thank you. Just wipe it over and just wipe over your pendulum. Okay, I always then stick it in a selenite bowl just to recharge it, cleanse it, clean it, and you're good to go. Now you can personalize. You know, you can personalize these if you like. Don't put too much bling and stuff on them. It's not necessary, but if that's how you want to connect, that's fine. Your boards, you know, you can make up your own board. You can get one from us. You can find one online. Like I said, this one here, I don't do anything to it because it's got everything I need on it. I do have plans for the back of it, and I will show you that one day when I get around to doing it. Or you can simply just get a piece of A4 paper, and you could write anything. Draw a symbol, you could, you know, whatever you like on it, and then put, you know, your text on it. If that works for you, try and get it laminated and keep it. I like this one because this is my travel one. I can just roll it up, pop it in a little bag, and it takes up no room at all. Okay, and where this one, a bit harder to travel with. Okay, and keeping it flat, it's pretty strong. All right, so you can personalize it. Now starting a session, okay, we'll just go through that quickly again. So you do all your cleanse, you know, you do the dust off. You protect yourself, have an idea of who you want to communicate, maybe pre-write those questions. Take a minute to meditate and do your breathing and try and center yourself. Ask universe, your guides, spirit realm, grandma, whoever it is, Uncle Ed. I don't know. I don't have an Uncle Ed. I don't know why I'm saying Uncle Ed. Maybe it's the horse thing. Yeah, ask them to help connect you or to come through. Pick up your pendulum and hold it securely. Don't really grip it because that's going to put tension into your shoulder. Lightly between your fingers, elbow on the table, relax your shoulder, sit close to the table. Where am I up to? Give the pendulum time to stop moving. Okay. And then ask you questions. Remember, yes or no, unless you've got one of these boards. You can create that. I'll just hold it up if you want to pause it and get the ideas, and you can make it your own one up on the computer, I guess, but laminate it so you don't have to keep printing it off every time. Yeah, so that's it there. If you want to pause, have a look, copy, whatever. Okay, if your answers are not completely clear, then ask for clarity like we talked about before. Stop it, re-ask the question. And so stop the movement and then re-ask the question. Patience is required. Like all things in the spirit realm, we, you know, it's not just because we want to communicate that they come through. They have to be ready to communicate, and sometimes they may not. Thank Spirit and the universe for communicating with you. Be very respectful and very, very thankful, and then finish your session and wipe down your own equipment. Okay, a couple of no-nos, do not do's that I have seen over the last few years of trying to help people with their pendulum work. Okay, swinging your pendulum is not going to give you energy to start your session. So I have seen people go, okay, we're going to start. Then they ask a question. No. You do not need to put any energy or manipulate the energy of your pendulum to get correct, reliable answers. The whole idea is for the pendulum to be energized by your physical body, your physical energy, or energy of spirit, okay? By swinging it around, all that's doing is it's putting motion into it, and you're just going to get false reads, okay? So a lot of people believe that they have to start it off. They have to start it off with energy to get it going. No, that is complete falsity, and it is completely not the right thing to do. We don't need to give it a nudge, all right? Don't ask one question on top of another without stopping the pendulum in motion in between questions. So, you know, is it grandma? Okay, do you love me? No. We need to ask one question, let it do its thing, and then stop it. Give it a little rest. Put it down if you want to. I don't usually. I'd like to hang on to it just to keep the energy there. But stop it and say, thank you. And you can ask it to go back to the middle of the board, or you can ask it to slow itself down or to center itself. It does take a bit of practice to do that, but if it's not doing that and you want to ask another question, just physically stop it yourself and then start again for the next question. All right, this pendulum here, and this is just my way of doing things. I never use this one on my outside my house. This is my personal one for here. If I'm doing pendulum work outside, say in a haunted location or wherever, I will use another one. I might just take that and then pull this out and just take it out the top, unscrew it and take it out the top and use that one. But this one stays in my little witch cave here. And I mean, it might go into my lounge room or my back room or something if I'm doing the work out there. But I choose to protect this energy of this particular one and leave it in my home and not take it to another location where it might get a different energy on it, if that makes sense. That's just my thing. All right, if at any time you are uncomfortable with the communication that you are receiving, stop the session. Thank Spirit, thank guides, thank the universe very much, and then finish the session, okay? So, when we close down a session and we cleanse our equipment, also remember to cleanse yourself and ground yourself. So because I'm recording, a phone call just came through, we'll start that bit again. So when you've finished a session, always go and cleanse yourself. So I always go and wash my hands and up my arms, okay? Just do a bit of a cleanse, and I do my face and my neck. And then have something light to eat. So it might be a cup of tea and a little bicky or crackers and cheese or something like that, and that will help you ground from working with spirit. Okay, I think we have covered everything. It is harder to do the video like this because you guys can't make comments or ask questions, but please feel free to comment or ask your questions down the bottom of this post. We've done personalized storage. You can keep it anywhere, basically. Like I said, I keep mine up in a cupboard or in a bag when I'm traveling. That's up to you. Just keep it nice and safe, away from the kids, away from animals that might chew on things. Where can I do it? We've done that. Let me just have a look. I think that is about it. Yeah, I think that's about it. So thank you for watching, and I hope that's been able to help a little bit on educating you on how to use it, how not to use it, or ways that you might like to change your practice, or even if it gives you confidence to purchase your own and start doing some work at home. By all means, please message us if you have any questions that you don't want to put up publicly. Again, I always say that no question is a silly question, because it might be that the question that you have that you may feel a little bit shy to put out publicly is a question that other people have too. Excuse me. So please always ask those questions. We will be doing more lives, hopefully they will be lives on different tutorials, and some of them will be things like this that you can use at home. Some things will be for investigations. Some of them will be more witchcrafty with spell work. We will be doing I will be doing card readings on Tuesdays. So we've got lots of different tutorials and ways for you guys to interact with us and ask questions. So please keep an eye on our Facebook page, Australia's Capture Paranormal, for any updates or any lives that we're doing. Also, if you could help me out and head over to Capture the Magic, magic with a K, M-A-G-I-C-K, purple logo with a outline of witch, Capture the Magic. If you could jump over to that page, give us a like. That is my witchy side, and we have a lot of spell work there, and there'll be some tutorials there as well. So you'll also be able to find, we have a YouTube channel that I haven't been great with updating because I just forget to do it, but we will be putting more stuff up on our YouTube as well, things like this. That we will post, so that if you don't see it here, you might see it there. I'll put the link in the comments for our YouTube. I'll put the links in for Capture the Magic page, and I will also put the links in for Capture the Magic store, online store. So we will be, I don't currently at this present time, but it might be before I post this, any of our boards up for sale, but we have lots of other bits and pieces. Unfortunately, the store is shipping only Australia, but we do Australia wide. Okay, so I'll put all those links in the description. Thank you again for understanding and being so kind with when I had my migraine yesterday. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's helped. And if there's any other subject that you would like a tutorial on, please private message us, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, have a great rest of your week. I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. I've lost track of days. I think it's Wednesday, Witchy Wednesday. So have a great week. Have a great weekend, and we will see you. I think next time we're live will be next Tuesday around 8 o'clock for the Oracle card. So join us for that. Take care.